penuh kesungguhan. Akademi Youtuber Malaysia, rangka laksana dengan jitu, penuh bermisi guru AYU, mencapai misi yang satu, permisi kita bantu.
Tahniah. Siaran langsung ini dibawakan khas kepada anda oleh Akademi Youtuber Malaysia. Tumpukan perhatian anda. Siaran langsung akan bermula sebentar lagi. Link SPL KTM akan diberikan di hujung siaran ini. Pastikan diisi dalam tempoh yang ditetapkan. Terima kasih.
Hi, Salam, Sejahtera, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pusat Tuisyen Akademi Youtuber with joint venture of eDidik Malaysia and Grab Guru Malaysia. I'm Mr. Peh. Currently, I am teaching at College Tingkatan 6 Tun Fatimah Melaka. I am the on-duty teacher for this week. For information, Akademi Youtuber Panitia Physics is preparing for you 2 free online classes. They are Form 5 Physics for Non-DLP. Will be held on every Friday, 9:30 p.m. So for this week, is presented by Teacher Hasnitah with the topic of 2.4 Principe Pascal. So if you haven't followed the class, you may visit the channel of Teacher Hasnitah. So another class will be for Form 4 DLP groups. That means that English and Bahasa Melayu are going to use for the lesson. Okay, the class will be held on every Sunday. And the actual class is actually on will be at 8:15 p.m. Okay, so for today's lesson, I am going to continue the subtopic of Chapter 2, Force and Motion 1. The subtopic is Impulse and Impulsive Force. And the lesson is expected to finish within 1 hour. And the link schedule will be going to send to you. You may fill up with any email you are available. So the link will be sent at the end of lesson. And please fill up within 30 minutes. Okay, so without further ado, let us start our lesson today. So in our chat room today, now we have Chia-Ying. Okay, so hi Chia-Ying. Thank you for continuing to support me. Okay, so I am fine here. Okay, so if you have any question, you may channel a question at the chat room. Okay, so for today's, you are going to understand 2 learning standards. So the first learning standard is to communicate, to explain impulse and impulsive force. So here, I already classified the 2 terms in the table so that you can see very clearly the differences between the impulse and impulsive force. Okay, so first, let us go through the definition for impulse. So the impulse, we're using symbol capital J here. The definition is the product of the force and time. So when you can apply this equation to give your definition for impulse, which is, again, the product of F represent the force, the T represent the time. So for impulse, there are another definition you can give. This will be the change in momentum of the object. So the formula will be going to this. Okay, so change of momentum, there will be final momentum minus initial momentum. Okay, so the M represent mass of the object, V represent final velocity, and U represent the initial velocity. So you can give these 2 definitions for impulse. So through the formula, the unit for the impulse can be Newton second. So by applying the first equation, where the force given us Newton, time will be second. I mean here is SI unit, so it will be Newton second. If we're using second equation, where here is change of momentum of the object, so the unit is actually same as the momentum. You learn at 2.5 already. So P equal to mv. So m will be the mass, v will be the velocity. Okay, so this will be the unit and formula and definition for impulse. Okay, so now let us look at the impulsive force. Okay, so here got error. So impulsive will be impulsive, impulsive force with the symbol of capital F. Okay, so the impulsive force definition here will be the rate of change of momentum. Okay, so here is actually different with the impulse. Impulse will be change in momentum, mv minus mu. But for impulsive force, it will be the rate change of momentum. So the rate represents the time. So the formula will be this. So mv minus mv over t. Okay, so the mv minus mu is actually change of momentum. Or you can give as impulse here over time. Okay, so it is the force that act on an object for a very short time during the collision or explosion. Okay, so that means that actually the force, we have a formula of F equal to ma. So the formula here is come from the same definition where it come from the Newton's second law. So the A here is V minus U over T. So actually this is also the formula for force. But when we discuss about the impulsive force, the force acting at the object is occur in very short duration. So especially you can see at the collision or explosion. Okay, so the unit here, since this is a force, the unit is Newton, or you can give kg meter per second square. So where the unit is come from, F equal to ma. The m is the mass, and the a will be meter per second square. So again, here we can give the unit for the impulsive force as Newton also. Okay, so I hope that all of you are clear about this. Okay, so if you have any question, you can channel your question in the chat room. Okay, so that I know you are learning together with me here. Okay, okay, so you can also introduce yourself in the chat room, where are you come from. Okay, so the next comparison here will be the kind of quantity. Okay, so both are actually vector quantities. Okay, so the vector quantity referring to the quantity that have both magnitude and the direction. Okay, so the impulse and impulsive force both are vector quantity. Okay, so the next here, we are mainly discuss the effect of time impact for impulse and impulsive force here. Okay, so they are actually different. Okay, so here for the explanation of the effect of time impact to value or the magnitude of J, which is impulse, you can using the formula just now we discussed, which the first will be equivalent to product of force times T. Another one will be rate change of, sorry, it's a change of momentum, not rate change, change of momentum. Okay, so when we discuss about the T, so you can using J equal to Ft. So from here, you may see that the J or the impulse is directly proportional to the time. Okay, so you see, impulse is directly proportional to time impact, so which is can be right at this relationship. Okay, so that means that when time increases, the impulse will be increases. Will be like this relationship, longer t, that means the longer time impact, the impulse we represent as symbol J capital will be increased. So on the other hand, for the impulsive force, the relationship between the T and the F can be discussed by using the formula also. From here, you are very clear that the relationship between them is inversely proportional. So this is different with impulse. Okay, so impulsive, okay, again here. Impulsive force, F is directly proportional. Okay, so here wrong already, is inversely proportional. Inversely proportional to time impact. Okay, so where we'll be writing like this. So from here, you are very clear that when the time longer increase, the force or impulsive force here is actually smaller, you want. Okay, so this is the difference between the terms of the impulse and impulsive force for the effect of time impact. And this will be the main point we are going to discuss today actually. Okay, so the next, okay, so just now we have already go through the definition between the impulse and impulsive force and also the effect of time impact. Okay, so here we discuss one example or situation for application of impulse. Okay, so here the magnitude of impulse can be increased by increase the action time and the longer the time impact. Okay, so here, so that means that from the formula you can see if the J increases, if the F is increased, and the T also need to increase. Okay, so the effect you can see here we have V and U. So if I say the object initially is moving at slower speed with greater force and the T time impact, so the object will be moving at higher speed. Okay, so here we have okay, so here suppose we have to change to increase the reaction time because we're talking about the follow-through action here. So here we change to reaction time, reaction force. Okay, so here in sports like football, players are often encouraged to follow through when making a powerful kick. Okay, so what means by this statement? So from this figure, okay, I label as A. So the A figure when labeled as forward kick, so the player will be kick the ball with greater force. Okay, so the action on the ball will be causes the reaction on the foot. Okay, so this is what just I mentioned to you. If you want to increase the impulse, so the reaction of the force must be increased. So this will be taken by greater kicking force by the player. And B figure you can see here, this is a follow-through action. So that means the leg of the player moving up to increase the time impact. Okay, so to increase the time impact. Just now we have mentioned already, if this is an increase in time impact, so the impulse will be increased. Okay, so here, the relationship between the action force will be this action force and reaction force can be explained by Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion. So where the law tells us that every action force they will be have an equal but opposite reaction force. Okay, so here we're talking about the reaction force added at the foot of player. Okay, so here by kicking forward with greater force, okay, so the reaction force on foot will be increased. You can see here. Okay, so while the follow-through action extend the time duration. So from this formula, if the F increase, T increase, J represent the impulse will be increased. Okay, so here we have golf, or I'm the golf in the line. Okay, so thank you for your response. Okay, so you may ask a question. You say you got anything you not sure in the chat room. Okay, welcome. Okay, so here, as a result, the ball undergo a greater change in momentum. So the change of momentum will be here. When the change of momentum is greater, as mentioned just now, the speed of the object will be increased. Okay, so that means for the increase of impulse, where we more explain about the technique played by the player, okay, to increase the speed of the ball. Okay, so now we discuss about the application of impulsive force. Okay, so for application of impulsive force, we have two different situations. Okay, so first, we want to produce a larger impulsive force. We want to have a greater force. Another application, we want to produce a small impulsive force actually. Okay, so here, how we can change the magnitude of the impulsive force. As mentioned just now, we can change by using time impact. Okay, so the formula for the impulsive force will be this, just how we explained already. The rate change of momentum, this is a change of momentum. Okay, so from this equation, we know that the relationship between the F and T is inversely proportional. Okay, so if you want to have a smaller value, okay, so here we discuss larger first. We want to have a larger value of F. So the T value must be small. So that means that if the application is to produce greater impulsive force, the time impact must be reduced now, as mentioned here. Okay, so what application you can see? Okay, so later on, we are going to discuss detail for the karate expert break the object in shorter time. Okay. Okay, then another one, we discuss about the material. So for the larger impulsive force, we normally apply at the hard material because the hard material will cause the time impact decreases. Okay, so here we have one example, application at mortar and pestle. So later on, we will be going to detail for this application also. Okay, so on the other hand, to produce a small impulsive force, okay, so to get the smaller impulsive force, so the time impact must be greater. Okay, so here we want to increase the time impact. This is the one, by increase the time impact T. So the application are going to discuss later on. For example, will be bending legs upon landing, for especially for high jump is one of the example of the sport where we want to reduce the impulsive force by bending the length of the athlete where can increase the time impact. Okay, another one will be discuss about the type of material going to apply here. So he'll be using a soft material. Okay, because the soft material, for example, the soft mattress, when the athlete doing the high jump, so there will be fall on the mattress. So the soft mattress can actually increase the time impact. Okay, so now we know already. So the application for impulsive force can produce larger impulsive force by decreasing the time impact or applying at the hard material. While for the small impulsive force application, okay, so here will be, we want to extend the time impact and using the soft material here. Okay. Okay, so now let us discuss details to produce large impulsive force example in our daily life. Okay, so here you can see the relationship. So the greater impulsive force can be produced when the time impact is shorter. Okay, so the first application will be application in the martial arts. As mentioned just now, the example of a karate expert. Okay, so here, a karate expert can break the thick wooden slab with his bare hand. So the figure here is woman, right? Can her also with his or her bare hands by striking it at a very high speed. So the motion must be very high speed. Okay, so here can be explained by this sentence and the equation. Okay, so the hand move at higher speed or higher velocity will result in the shorter time impact. So key will be this. With greater velocity, the time impact will be shorter. And this may cause the larger impulsive force applied on the wooden slab. Okay, so the second application here will be driving a nail with a hammer. Okay, it will be this. Okay, so a massive hammer head moving at high speed, again, moving at high speed, come to a certain stop upon striking a nail. So that means here, actually, the time impact will become shorter. Okay, so here, when the hammer head strike at high velocity, the time impact is very short. So again, the impulsive force produced will be larger. Okay, so the next year, we discuss about the pestle and mortar. Okay, pestle and mortar. Okay, so pestle and mortar moving at higher speed. Again, moving at higher speed towards a hard mortar. Okay, mortar will be this. This will be pestle. Okay. Okay, so it will be stopped at shorter time because of the hard mortar together moving with higher speed. Okay, so the impact will be the time taken for the activity here will be shorter and causes impulsive force produce larger. Okay, so allowing effective crushing of the material inside. You can just look at the figure showing here. Okay, so here, okay, I just noticed that we have, quite many students respond in the chat room. So here we have Tawin. Okay, welcome Tawin. Peh KH, welcome. Oh, you are Jimmy's friends. Okay, so welcome. Okay, so thank you, Jimmy. Again, join me here again. So I introduce my channel to others friends. Okay, hello everyone. So we have also Cikgu Hasnitah in the line. Okay, so thank you Cikgu Hasnitah for following my class. Okay, so let us continue the fourth application to produce a larger impulsive force here. So everyone, if you have a question, you may channel your question in the chat room. Okay, so the fourth application here to produce a larger impulsive force. Here, impulsive force in kicking football. Okay, so here, football contains high air pressure inside. When it is kicking forcefully with a follow-through action, it undergo a large change in momentum and travel at higher speed. Okay, so here, the ball we use must be full with air, where will be given us high air pressure. You want? Okay, so here, since the time of impact is short, the impulsive force extended on the ball is large. Okay, so I think that some of students will be quite confused. Just now we have an example of follow-through action for the sport where we discuss also for football. So the follow-through action increase the time impact, increase the impulse. Then here we discuss where the time impact is short. When we kicking a ball full with air, the time impact shorter causes the impulsive force larger. So actually here, we can discuss two things. First, the follow-through action is more on the technique by the player. So when the player carry out follow-through action, here, you can look at the leg. So here we have extension of the time. And this will cause the impulse to increase. When we're talking about the material, where here the football is full with air, that means the pressure is higher, right? So the time impact of the material, or adding on the material here is football, is shorter, causes the impulsive force increase. So that means the technique of the player, example follow-through action, we discuss about increase of time impact and increase the impulse you want. So we have the relationship. Okay, so here is actually J. I got mistake here. J is directly proportional to T. T increase, impulse increase when doing follow-through action. For material here, the ball full with air will be have high pressure, high air pressure. This may cause the time impact decreases, and this we discuss about the impulsive force increase. Okay, so this is parts where I want to highlight. Okay, so in the line again we have more students join us here. So we have Hui Xuan. Oh, Hui Xuan, thank you for joining my lesson and respond me in the chat room. Okay, so another is Kawi. Is it Kawi or Kawi? Oh, thank you for joining my lesson. And we have Zixuan also. Oh. Okay, so A1, can you tell me where are you come from? Okay, so thank you again for joining my class. Okay, so now we're going to discuss another application of the impulsive force. Here will be to produce a small impulsive force. So we take the advantage of larger impulsive force for different application. So now actually the impulsive force can cause serious injuries for athlete, or example the victims of in accidents. So we want to reduce the impulsive force for some of the cases. And here we are going to discuss how we can reduce the impulsive force. So from the relationship, here you are very clear that to reduce the impulsive force, we can actually increase the time impact. Okay, so here we have Mei also. Okay, it's also Jimmy's friend. So thank you, Jimmy, for introduce my class to them. Okay, so here the first application we are going to discuss here will be the technique in long jump to reduce impact force. Okay, so long jump, you can just look at the figure. Okay, so the first, the long jump pit will be this is filled with sand. So why? The long jump pit is filled with sand. So the sand can increase the time impact when athlete landed. Okay, if let's say we're using hard surface like cement, so the time impact will be shorter because the material is hard compared to sand. Sand is soft and rough, right? Okay, so this may cause, okay, so for sand, increase the time impact may cause the impulsive force applied to the leg of athlete decreases. Will be this sentence. Okay, so another way we can reduce the impulsive force added to the leg of athlete will be the athlete needs to bend his leg upon landing to increase the time impact. Okay, so here, okay, we have new students here. Yuwen, thank you, Yuwen, for joining my lesson here. Okay, so here, in conclusion, we have two techniques here. First, the long jump bit must be with sand, which is soft and rough, to increase the time impact. Secondly, the athlete should be bending their legs when they're landing on the sand so that they can increase the time impact also. So to increase the time impact, so the impulsive force adding on the leg of athlete can be reduced and minimize the risk of injury or A1. Okay, so here the next application here will be use the mattress in high jump to minimize injuries. So you can look at this short video clip here. So an athlete is doing the high jump, okay, and then fall on the mattress. Okay, so in high jump, the athlete lands on a thick and soft mattress after a jump. Okay, so the mattress increases the time of the impact. Only one to reduce the impulsive force on the athlete. So again, we apply the same formula. When thick, we have a thick and soft mattress, the time impact will be increased. So the impulsive force added on the person is reduced. Okay, so here, yes, it's an application you So it's an application question here. Thank you for the response from Jimmy. Okay, so here actually when the athlete landed, the movement is actually downward. So just how we had explained already the Newton third law of motion. So they will be have same but opposite reaction force added to the body of athlete. So the impulsive force is the force we talking about, which is the reaction force. Okay, which is a reaction force when the athlete is landed. Okay, so here the next technique here we are going to discuss will be technique in catching a ball to reduce impulsive force. Okay, so you can again look at the picture at the right side here. Okay, so the first, when catching a fast moving ball, the player is advised to wear soft glove to help. Okay, soft glove help to cushion the impact. So that means the soft glove can absorb the impact from the ball. So secondly, here we discuss about the material type, which is soft, and this may increase the time impact on E1. And between the contact of the ball to the hand, so this may decrease the impulsive force. Again, we apply the same equation. Okay, so in addition, the second technique we want to discuss here will be, you can see the ball is moving from the hand. You see the ball and the hand is follow the movement of the hand moving backward. Okay, so here moving the hand backward in the direction of ball motion while catching also increase the time impact. So that means here we have two techniques are introduced to increase the time impact and reduce the impulsive force. First, we're using a soft material. Secondly, the technique here will be the hand of the player is moving backward and follow the motion of the ball. Okay, so this may reduce the impulsive force added to the hand of the player, so can prevent injuries to the hand. Okay, so this is how the player can reduce the impulsive force. Okay, so number 4, here will be the car safety feature to reduce the impulsive force. Okay, if the impulsive force is greater, the victim will be injured seriously. Or here we want to actually reduce the impulsive force added to the victims in accident. So here we focus on 3 features. First will be the crumple zone, second will be airbag, third will be the seat belt. Okay, so a collision causes a car to stop and undergo a change in momentum. So when we have the greater changing of momentum, the impulsive force will be increased according to the formula, right? The formula will be this. When changing of momentum higher, F will be higher. Okay, so how we can reduce the F so we can increase the time impact? Okay, so the car safety feature like seat belt, airbag, and crumple zone are designed to increase the time of the impact during a crash, thus reducing the impulsive force on the passenger on A1. Okay, so here we have Chayao. Hi, Chayao. So, kawabai. Okay, so thank you for joining my lesson. Okay, so here we have already finished the learning standard 1, where you need to understand the difference between the impulse and impulsive force. Okay, so before we continue our second learning standard, okay, so we can take a 5 first, okay, before we continue the learning standard 2. So everyone, please stay tuned. See you another minute, everyone. Okay, welcome back everyone. So now we are going to continue our learning standard 2, where we are going to discuss about the problem solving involving the impulse and impulsive force. So that means that here we focus on the calculation. Okay, so however, I will straight away using the SPM format paper 2 question to cover the learning standard 1 question and learning standard 2 question here. So when we see the calculation, this may referring to learning standard 2. The theory will be the learning standard 1. Okay, so here, hi, we have Mignon. Follow me here. Okay, so welcome, Mignon. So here we have the greeting from Jaya also. So here, today is a Mother's Day. Okay, so wish all mothers happy Mother's Day. Okay, and then tomorrow will be the holiday for us also. Okay, happy Visa Day also for those in Buddhist, right? Buddhist region, and happy holiday for others. Okay, so here we have also message from Yukage. Hi, Yukage. So if you may tell me where I come from in the chat room. Okay, so let us start our first question. Okay, so the first question here will be the question related to application of impulsive force, right? So in the example of mortar and pestle. Okay, so if I say you still remember, just how we explained the mortar and pestle, so actually they are hard material, right? So here we want to produce a character, character impulsive force. Okay, so the first set the law of the physics that can explain the situation in figure 4.1 with this. So as mentioned just now, we have only one physics law we discussed today, right? This will be the Newton's third law of motion. Okay, so here, so the answer should be Newton's third law of motion. Why? Because the Newton's third law of motion tells us that for every action, there are an equal and opposite reaction here. So when you press or drill with a pestle, the pestle will be here, right? In the mortar. So you push down the substance, so will be the action. So when the pestle moving down, this will be the action. So they will be have a opposite with equal magnitude of force adding at the opposite direction. So this will be known as the reaction, right? So the reaction force causes the substance to crush more efficiently. This is what we discussed just now, right? Okay. Okay, so here the answer here will be third Newton's law of motion, I1. Okay, so here the next will be name the force involved in the impact in the figure 4.1. So this is what we discussed today, right? So what is the force here, A1? So if you still remember what we discussed just now, the force added on an object in shorter time. Example, in collection or explosion. So this type of force we know as impulsive force, I1. So the answer for this question supposed to be impulsive force. Okay, then the next question, explain how the mortar and pestle can quickly pulverize cooking ingredients. Okay, so here is what just now we explained. So a pestle moving at higher speed towards the hard mortar crowned with the shorter time. So this is what you have to explain. Then the shorter time impact causes the larger impulsive force added to the substance. And the substance will be crushing more effectively. Anyone? Okay, so here, the first mark, so here we have 2 marks, right? 2 marks, we have to give minimum 2 points, everyone. Oh, yes, Jimmy, the answer is impulsive force. Okay. Okay, so the next here, the first mark here will be the fast pestle movement will reduce the time impact. So this is the first point, right? You can give also moving of the pestle with higher speed can reduce the time impact. So the shorter time impact may cause the large impulsive force to produce, anyone? Yes. The dire impulse, okay, yes. In BM, we know as the dire impulse for B. Okay, so now the C will be 2 points here. We discuss the motion or pressure in higher speed where can reduce the time impact. Second mark, with the reducing the time impact, the larger impulsive force will be produced, I1. Okay, so thank you for your response in the chat room. Okay, so the next question here will be the calculation. So that means that this is learning standard 2. So where you need to know how to solve the question related to impulse or impulsive force. Okay, so the question will be like this. Okay, so diagram 4.2 show a car collection test. So a 1,200 kg car hits a wall with a speed of 15. So you can see here, the figure shows us already. So the speed is negative 15. So that means that moving to the left here, consider as negative. Okay, so the car bounced back with a speed of 2.6. So you can see the magnitude is 2.6. However, direction is to the right. So here is no more positive. So the negative or positive depends on direction you set. If you set your left side become positive, the right side will be negative lah. So depends on you. Okay, so impulse in the correction. So everyone, you can try to calculate the answer here. So the impulse here. So what is the formula we are going to use? So today we are learn two formula here. So one will be for impulse and another one is for impulsive force, right? Okay, so according to the information given in the question given us a mass of the car 1,200. We follow the question. Seen here stated already. To the left is a negative, we just follow. So V is 2.6. So here I highlight already positive because of the opposite direction at the right side. So the time 150 milliseconds. So you have to change to SI unit here to 0.15 second. Okay, so here the impulse formula, just now we have two, right? One is FT, another one is MV minus MU. Here we have two formula. So which one we have to choose? So you see the given here is M, V, and U, right? So we are clear that we will choose the second formula where J equal to MV minus MU. So you just substitute everything in the equation. So 1,002 will be the mass, 2.6 will be the V, final velocity of car, where he mentioned the car will bounce back, right? Then the U here will be negative 15 because the car moving at the left side started with the sign of negative here. So press your calculator. Sure way you can get answer 2.112 times 10 power 4 kg meter per second or A1. Okay, so in Malay, okay, so here in Bahasa Melayu, so here kita gunakan formula MV tolak MU lah. So V adalah hal laju akhir diberi dengan angka 2.6. So positive sebab dia bergerak pada arah right, kanan, right? Okay, then kiri assume sebagai negatif lah. So masuk dalam formula kedua. So value sini akan jadi 2.112 times 10 power 4. Okay, so the minimum you have to give the 2 decimal places. Okay, be correct unit. Okay, so the next will be calculation for impulse force. Okay, impulse force. So that means just now we are using the impulse force is also accepted, besides of impulsive force lah. Okay, so that means impulse force or impulsive force is accepted. Okay, so for impulsive force, so we using formula, the second formula here. Formula will be F equal to MV minus MU over T. Okay, so we just substitute all the value. Okay, so here the MV minus MU represent as FT, right? Which is actually the impulse. The impulse value you get already at D1. So you just substitute at here. 2.112 times 10 power 4. And then the D here you have to show the changes. Will be 0.15. So 3 marks here. the first mark is given for the conversion of millisecond to second. Second mark is given for substitution. Then the third mark will be given for answer with correct unit. So here minimum 2 decimal places you can give as 1.41 times 10 power 5 Newton. Okay. Okay, here we answer shared by Chia Yao. Okay, so thank you for Jimmy response also. Okay, so here, this is how we calculate for impulse and impulsive force. Okay, so here we go for our question number 2. Actually, we have total 4 questions today. So question 1, 2, and 3 will be paper 2 section A, and then the question number 4 will be section B question. Is a decision making question. Okay, so we go through the question for example of question 2 here. Okay, so here we have the question number 5. Here is an example question for conception question here. Okay, we comparing for 2 figure or 2 diagram here. Okay, so diagram 5.1, a high jump athlete jumping at a high before landing on mattress P. Okay, so this is the mattress P, and the figure 5.2 will be the same athlete but jumping at a high before landing at mattress Q. So here we have the different thickness, right, of the mattress here. Okay, so the question asks about the definition of impulse. Okay, understand already. Okay, good. For child response. Okay, so impulse. Okay, so when for definition, you actually can use the formula to give the answer. Okay, so here, what is the meanings of the impulse? We have 2 options. If you still remember the first slide I shared to you. Okay, so here the first, if you're using the second equation, so here actually tell us the change of momentum, right? So the definition here, you can give change of momentum for impulse. So another one, you can using the first equation, where it is the product of force and time. So this is also accepted, everyone. So you can give these 2 definitions for impulse, but the more popular answer is actually change of momentum, everyone. Okay, so now we go for the next B. Okay, so here we have 2 diagrams, 5.1 with the mattress P and 5.2 will be the mattress Q. Okay, so we have to compare the thickness. Okay, so here we can see very clear that the thickness of the mattress P or the figure or diagram 5.1 is actually thinner, right? So the Q or diagram 5.2 is thicker. Okay, so here the answer you can using the mathematics symbol. So diagram 5.1 is smaller than 5.2. Okay, and then for the second question, the time impact for the athletes. Okay, so here you have to apply the theory you learned just now, right? So where we discussed already just now, if the mattress is thick and soft, so the time impact will be increased. This is what we want to discuss for B2. So that means here, thicker mattress is at 5.2. So the time impact for 5.1 will be smaller than 5.2. Okay, and then the second point here will be regarding the impulsive force. Okay, so here, time impact is, so I think I could mistake for English. Will be this. BM is correct. Okay, so here 5.1 is smaller than 5.2 according to the hot tips here, the first point we discussed just now. Okay, then the next here will be regarding the impulsive force. So the next sentence will be this. The mattress increases the time impact, so the impulsive force will be reduced. You can see here. So that means here, the impulsive force for 5.1 is greater actually. So the risk to get injured by using a mattress P will be higher actually. Okay, so here 5.1 is greater than 5.2 lah. Will be the answer here. Okay, then the next here. Okay, so the next here we have the relationship between the time impact and the impulsive force added to the person, which is relationship by using the formula. Okay, so here you can use time impact increases, the impulsive force will be decreases. So the answer will be this. The athletic impact time increases, the athlete's impulse force after fall on it decrease. So actually I copy this sentence and this sentence. So when time impact increase, impulsive force will be decreased. I just add on 2 words here. You can give the vice versa answer also, which is the athletic impact time decreases, the athletic impulse force after fall on it increase. This will be occur at figure 5.1. Okay, so again here ask you about the law involved. This is one and only, right? The one and only 5.1 is correct. Yes, you refer to which question? Just now one, right? Okay, so on the line we have Pika Relax also. So thank you for joining my lesson. Okay, so Chaya is leaving SPM 2021. Wow, 22 and 23. So that means it's 2 years ago. So are you taking SCPM or where you study now? Okay, thank you for continue supporting us. Okay, so I continue for this question. Just now we have learned already. We have one and only law we learned today, right? Which is the Newton's third law. So at here, how we apply the Newton's third law in the situation in this question. So here, again, we have 2 types of force here. Action force will be the athlete pushes down and backward on the mattress. So that means here, this is a mattress. The athlete moving down will be known as an action force. So at the same time, there will have a reaction force added to the athlete. Okay, so the mattress push back and forward with equal and opposite direction. So that means here we have another impulsive force added to the body of athlete. Okay, so here this will be third law, Newton's third law of motion, or A1. Okay. Okay, so thank you for response from Pika Relax also and Jayao. Okay, so now, you study now from physics. Okay, so here, the continued question will be E. Okay, so you can see here is a calculation question. So when this is a calculation question, this will be standard 2, learning standard 2 for today. So if the mass of the athlete is 51 kg, the velocity of the athlete before touching the mattress is 5. Before touching the mattress. Okay, so here referring to you already, right? Okay, so the time impact is T. Calculate the impulsive force. Okay, so if you label all the value or the parameter we want to get, you know which formula you are going to select actually. So this will be the formula actually we are going to select. So you just substitute all the value, but here we do know V. So the V will be 0 when the athlete stop at the mattress. So here we have the value of M equal to 51 U. Okay, so I assuming that the downward force or downward direction is negative, or you see. So my U initial velocity here is -5. Okay, so V assuming is 0 because the athlete will be stopped at the mattress. Okay, so the time taken here is 0.8. Okay, so here we substitute everything in the equation. So this is M, this is V, this is U. So I get the value 318.75 Newton, which is positive. So that means the direction will be actually upward. So this is the reaction force added to the athlete actually. Okay, I hope that everyone can clear about this. Okay, so here we have Cairo. Okay, so thank you for joining my lesson, Cairo. Okay, so now we go for F. State the force acting on the athlete when he is in the A. So what is the force added when the athlete is in the AI1? Okay, it's here. You can see the force added here will be weight actually, or the force of gravity push the athlete downward, because the weight will be cause everything move towards the center of gravity, right? Okay, so the answer here will be gravitational force or the weight of the athlete. Both of that is accepted, everyone. Okay, so when touch the mattress, the force added will be impulsive force, where the force we discuss here will be the reaction force added to the athlete. Okay, so now we go for, okay, I accidentally show you the answer already. So never mind, so we can straight away discuss the question number 3 here. Okay, so here, the question will be like this. Diagram 5 shows votes in gymnastic. Okay, this voting table. Okay, so during a vote in the gymnastic, gymnast apply an impulsive force on the voting table to launch themselves into the A. Okay, so the gymnast with the mass 60 kg. Okay. Okay. I saw the response from Jia. So thank you for the response here. Okay, so now we continue for the question number 3A. Okay, so the question given us the M is 60 is here, and the F added will be 800, and the time taken is 0.1. You see, all is given already. Okay, so the question actually asks you to calculate the impulse. The importance here, you need to know the formula. Okay, so what is the impulse exerted by the gymnast on the voting table during the vote? Okay, so here we have the formula of J equal to Ft. We're using Ft because the question given us F and T to get the impulse of. So we substitute F as 800, time taken 0.1. We get answer as 80 Newton second. Also, please remember, give the correct unit besides of the magnitude here. You want. Okay, so here we have whole number because no any decimal places we get with the impulse here. Okay, so the next question, to calculate impulsive force, again, you see here, impulsive force, we apply formula F equal to mv minus mv over t. But the mv over mu is actually the impulse. Here, this is the formula I explained to you. And here, the mv minus mu is actually ft. And the answer you get already is 18 Newton second, we get from 1. Okay, so we want to substitute the value of value 80 here. Time taken, just now we also get already. So this is the information we get in the question. So we want value of t, which is 0.1. Okay, so we substitute, we get answer is 800 Newton. So actually this value is same as the value of F added. And this is given by the question. If you read the question just now together with me here. Okay, so here, the next will be theory. During the vote in gymnastic, take off or landing. So it's common for gymnasts to bend their knees. You see, this is what we also explained already just now in the standard, learning standard 1 explain. So why the gymnast or the athlete need to bend their legs when they landing. So here is a discussion. If you forget, this is a point. The first, they want to bend the leg upon landing because they want increase the time impact. So when they increase the time impact, the impulsive force applied on their legs will be reduced. It can minimize the risk of injuries or anyone. Okay, so here 2 marks. We have to give 2 points. First, increase. Okay, so increase time impact will be this. Second, you have to give reduce impulsive force. This is the minimum answer you can give now. Okay, 2 point will be here. Okay, so the question B. Okay, so here, this is actually the question number 8 for paper 2, section A, where here is a decision making question. Okay, so here, table 5 show 4 types of mattress and the characteristic. Okay, so here we have 4. The characteristic we discuss here will be thickness, surface, and the size. Okay, so here we are very clear. We'll choose the thicker mattress. Why? As we mentioned just now, the thicker mattress will increase the time impact, and this will minimum or decrease the impulsive force, right? Yes, we have to choose. Yes, answer is T. Oh, this one is just one, right? Yes, T increase, then the F will be reduced. Yes, for bending the leg. Okay, so thank you for response from Jimmy. Okay, so the next question will be decision making. So all of you can choose the mattress for this answer also in chat room I want. Okay, so the mattress, firstly, just like I mentioned already, we have to choose thicker, right? Reason, increase time impact, reduce impulsive force will be the answer. Okay, so thicker we should choose. Reason, lengthen the time impact, or you can just increase the time impact, reduce the impulsive force. This will be the answer. Okay, then the next surface, which one we have to choose? You can see when we choose thick already, the L and M sure out already. So we focus on 2 enough already. So the surface, non-slip or regular. So for sure, yes. Oh, Jimmy here, you give the answer already, right? Okay, so it's J. Okay, so we see now we have 2 J and K. Is it J? So we look at the explanation here. Okay, so here sure, actually we choose the non-slip. So answer is J. So the Jimmy answer is correct. Okay, so the reason why? So because non-slip surface will be give better grip for the athlete, and they will be have more stability. Okay, so this is the reason for non-slip. Then the size must be bigger now, so that the athlete will be have a wider area to land it. Will be not easily to fall to another side, right? Okay, so here we choose big because have a larger landing area. Okay, here we choose J you want. Okay, so answer from Jimmy is correct. Okay, so Jaya answer B1, about yes, correct. Okay, so now we go for last question of the day. Okay, so this is question number 4, and as mentioned just now, this is an example question for 20 marks question at section B. You want? Okay, so here will be the question. So in diagram 5, the basketball player. Oh, this is figure 5. Okay, so the basketball player jumps high using their legs to make a slam dunk, inserting an impulsive force on the landing. Existing. So that means when landing, so the reaction force will be the impulsive force added to the legs of the player. So if the impulsive force is greater, the player legs might be broken. So how the player can minimize their impulsive force? Just now we also explained quite many times already. So we want to increase the time impact. So there are many ways. Example, bending their legs upon landing is one of them. Okay, so the first question normally will be asked you about the definition. So here is impulsive force. Or just now, the first question we have the definition for impulse. We're using formula. So for impulsive force, we actually can using formula for discussion also. So the formula will be like this. So mv minus mu is the change of momentum. The t will be rate. So the definition is very easy. This will be rate change of momentum. So if you keep change of momentum, the definition referring to impulse, not impulsive force. You want please take note for this. Okay, then the B question, calculation is learning standard 2. You have to understand today. Okay, so the player with the mass of 80. Okay, I magnified the question. So the player with the mass of 80 kg jumps with an initial velocity of 4 and a duration of 0.5. Okay, so calculate the impulsive force exerted by the player on the ground during the jump. Okay, so here, question gives us already M, and then here will be U. Here will be T. So again, we do know V. So the V value will be 0 when the player landed on the ground. Okay, so here, I assume the U downward is negative. So here, I substitute to this equation. Okay, so here will be -4 for U, then V will be 0 as mentioned. So we substitute, we get positive 640 Newton. So that means the force or impulsive force added to the legs of the athlete here will be upward, I1. Okay, yes, the answer just now is changing, rate change of momentum, yes. Okay, so to decrease the impulsive force, we need to bending needs, yes, correct. Good answer from Jimmy and Chia Yao. Okay, so here the C is another calculation question. Okay, so here we have the question like this. A baseball player swing the bat with a force of 1,200 Newton. The contact time between the bat and the ball is 0.02. Okay, so this will be known as a time impact. Calculate the impulse exerted on the ball during the correction. Okay, so now we have to find impulse again. We have the 1 and only formula. But impulse got 2, Ft or Mv minus Mu. Okay, so here the question give us the F and give us a T. So we have to using F times T to get the impulse ready, right, everyone? Okay, so what is the formula? Just now I mentioned that for impulse we have 2 formula, 1 and 2, right? And here the information given will be for F and T only. So we choose the first equation. So you just substitute, you will get 24 Newton second. Okay, so please remember, give correct unit also. Okay, so this will be regarding the calculation. Okay, so for D, 4 marks question for theory. This you will see at question section B9 and 10. Okay, yes, we use the F and T. Yes, answer formula from Jimmy show us. Yes, correct. Okay, answer is 24. Yes, is correct. Okay, thank you for the answer shown by both of you. Okay, so here the 4 marks question, you have to give minimum 4 points now. So swinging the bat backward before bringing it forward, also known as back swing. You can see, is a common technique some player use to generate greater range of motion. Okay, you can see when the backswing here referring to common technique, actually we're referring to follow through action. So when follow through action, what you should discuss, impulse or impulsive force? What you want? Okay, just now actually I used the example of football, right? When we discuss about the technique, when we mentioned there is a follow through action. So we discuss the time impact increase causes impulse to increase or you want. If we discuss about the material of the bat or the tennis ball here, so we're referring to impulsive force already. So where harder material and fully filled air of the tennis ball can help to reduce the time impact and increase the impulsive force. Here we have 2 things need to discuss. but the question just asks you about the common techniques. So we have to discuss impulse I1. Okay. Okay, so here, 4 marks, what you're going to discuss. So here, again, just now I mentioned to you, the backswing is a follow-through action. So you have to discuss time impact increase. Where can increase the impulse I1? Okay, so the first point, as time increases, the impulse increases. So these are 2 points you can get. Okay, after that, what you can give 4 marks, you can explain the second formula here besides of FT here. So here, when impulse increase, the change of momentum increase, right? So when change of momentum increase, the head velocity of the ball will be increased. Baseball here, here will be baseball. Okay, third point will be change of momentum by using formula to discuss I1. Okay, and then we discuss the speed of the ball increase or ball accelerate. Okay, so this may cause the ball moving at further distance, right? Ball can be moved further. So here we have 5 points, the maximum will be 4. Okay, so you can write more than 4. Okay. Okay, then now we go for the last 10 marks question for today's I1. Okay, so you can also read the question together with me and tell me what should be the best selection, okay, for the question E here, I1. Okay, so here, table below shows the equipment specification. Specification, we have 4, right? So we discuss about the first character, the batting helmet. Catches mass density. So that means here, the glove, right? This is a glove. Then the chest protection and the shin guard. Okay, so the first, the batting helmet, we have 2 options. Outer or hard outer shell or soft outer shell, you want. So the outer parts of the helmet. Then second, catches mass density. Okay, so need to high or low. And then here, the chest protection, we have also 2 options. One will be the multi-layer form. Another one will be 1 layer form only. Then the shin guard will be have soft and cushioning interior padding or had a hard overall. Which one should be selected? Okay, so the first for the batting helmet, actually, okay, so the answer should be do in table. I think we advise for most of the time already. Okay, so for the first, the batting helmet, we should choose hard. Okay, so why? Just now we explained should be soft because can increase the time impact, so that decrease the impulsive force. But here we referring to outer parts of the batting helmet. So for the outer parts, we should choose hard because we want to stop the ball or the impact penetrate into the head of the player. So the inner parts of the shell should be soft, but the outer part should be hard. Okay, so here the batting helmet for outer parts must be hard because you want to stop the ball or stop the spreading of the impact force over a wider area. Okay, so this is outer parts. If the question asks about the inner parts, you should choose soft material because you want to increase the time impact so that the impulsive force will be decreases. However, outer parts, we must hard because we want to stop the ball first. If not, the force will be penetrate into the head of the player already. This will become dangerous. Okay, so let us check together. Okay, so the next we discuss about the catcher's mask. Okay, so the catcher mask actually referring to the glove, right? Actually should be low density. Okay, should be low density. Okay, why? Because when we have a low density, the mass here will be lighter. Okay, it will be lighter, I1. Okay, so here we can cancel out all options already, you see. First, we cancel out K and N already. Then from second, we cancel out high. So that means we are very clear the direction will be go to the J already, I1. Okay, so the chest protection. So we should choose multiple layer form or one layer. So here we clear must be choose multi-layer already, I1. So multi-layer will be, okay, this is a explanation just now. The mass density must be low. So reason here, we want to have lighter. Okay, then the next here we choose multi-layer, right? Okay, so the chest protection must be multi-layer. Reason, when we have multi-layer, so it can absorb the impulsive force, or you can reduce the impulsive force lah. And multi-layer will be increase the durability also can be used for longer time you want. Okay, then the shin guide will be soft and cushioning interior padding. So the interior part will be soft as mentioned just now, but here is for the shin guard. Okay, so here will be soft and cushioning interior padding. So reason, absorb impact, or you can give increase time impact so that can decreases the impulsive force. Yes, answer choose here should be J, Jimmy. Yes, now you select the correct already. So it should be J. Okay, so here choose J. And then you have to copy the 4 aspect, where will be harder outer shell or padding helmet. The catcher mass density must be low, and multi-layer foam or chest protector. Soft and cushioning interior padding or shin guard should be right at the mark number 10 here. All you want. So like this, you can get full marks already. Okay, so Jia-Ying, right? Okay, so Jia-Ying, our class will be finished already. Okay, so if you want, so I can share to you the link of the day today for link schedule. You can get in the chat room now, I want. Okay, so I already sent the link schedule for today's lesson at the chat room. Please fill out with any email you are available. And please fill out within 30 minutes. Just after the class finish today. Okay, so here don't forget to share my lesson to your friends so that more of your friends can get benefits for my lesson today. Okay, so and please click like and share my lesson today to your friends, and don't forget to follow the next physics classes. So for Form 5 will be Friday. Okay, Friday 9:30 p.m. Okay, so the Form 4 class, which is in DLP, will be as usual, or will be back to Sunday 8:15 p.m. So will be continued by Cikgu Hasnitah next week with subtopic of 2.8. All everyone. Okay, so again, thank you very much everyone for joining my lesson today. Okay, so see you all again next lesson. Bye bye everyone.